guys, welcome to another Yule crafting video. Today I'm going to make fire starters out of these pine cones. Now these are cinnamon scented pine cones. These will work fine. Pine cones you find outside will work fine. It doesn't really matter that they're scented like this. So I just bought this bag and I'm going to use these. You're going to need soy wax. To do this whole bag I would probably need 2 pounds, but I'm only going to make about 4 or 5 of them, you'll need about 1 pound, depending on the size, how many times you dip them. Different factors depend on how many a pound will make. But 1 pound will make about 4, about this size pine cones probably. You'll need the soy wax. I just bought this at Michael's. It's just Art Mind's soy candle wax. Then you'll need something to stir it with, like a wooden spoon, or I'm just using one of these skewers. It's just a wooden skewer like you would use for meat when you grill it or something, because I don't want to mess up one of our spoons, and I don't have an extra one. Then you need some type of wick, candle wicking, preferably the kind that has the metal in the middle. I guess you could use some that doesn't, I don't know. The instructions I read said to use the kind with metal in it. Then you need some candle coloring. This is optional, of course. You don't have to color it. And another optional thing is scent, which I'm using this apple cinnamon scent, which I also got at Michael's. Then you're going to need to create a double boiler, which this is a candle melter pot, and I put the wax in there already. I've got it melting on medium, and I just turned it on, so it's not melted yet. But I put the soy wax flakes in there, and as you can see, that's not even bubbling yet because I just turned it on. The water's still cold. And so I put it in there like a double boiler, and I covered my surfaces with paper so I don't drip. Then you're going to need a cookie sheet, which I haven't done this yet, but a cookie sheet with wax paper down on it. And once I get everything melted and everything, all the wax melted, I will show you how to actually do this. Okay, so while your wax is melting, you want to take your pine cone and cut a long piece of string, anywhere from 15 to 20 inches long approximately. You might need a little shorter, probably won't need any longer than that. Mine's probably somewhere around 24 inches long just because I suck at measuring. And then you find the center and you tie a loop. I'll try to show you me doing it, but I don't know that I'll be able to very well. So you find the center there, and then you tie a small loop in it, like a knot with a loop at the top, like this. That loop's too big. Move the knot up some and more, like that. Now this part here, can you see that good? Got the camera now. Okay, so there we go. That's going to go on top of our pine cone like this. And you're going to tie that on there, attach that on there, and then you're going to weave the 2 other parts, the 2 strands down. I'm sorry, I have to hold the camera because I don't have any way to, I don't have a camera stand or anything. You're going to put that like that in there. And then you're going to like weave these two in between all the little slats till you get to the bottom, and then you're going to tie a knot down at the bottom. I'll show you what it looks like once I've done that. Okay, so as you can see, my loop is up top, and I just kind of wound the string down through the pine cone, and then when I got to the end, I just kind of stuck it in there. The other end's over here somewhere. Oh yeah, both ends are both right next to each other, I guess. I just kind of stuck them in there so that the string goes all the way through it, all around. I didn't tie it on the bottom, I just stuck them in there. I thought I was going to tie them at the bottom, but I didn't. I just stuck them in there. And then what we're going to do is once the wax is melted, you're going to let it melt all the way, add your coloring, add your scent, then let it cool to 130, between 130 and 140 degrees so that it's a little bit thicker. And you're going to dip this in there and then let it cool, dip it again, let it cool, dip it again, but anywhere between 2 and 4 times. Or I guess you could do more, but there's really no need to do it more than 4 times. And if it gets too cool, you want to keep it between 130 and 140 degrees. So if it gets too cool and it's like getting like jelly, you know, like you want to remelt it. And then you can keep dipping it, and then you just put it on the wax paper like this to dry between. And then once it's fully dry, you turn it upside down, dip the top part to cover this, and then it's a fire starter. And you would just throw this in there in the fire, light the top part to start it, and there you go. So I'll show you once I start dipping them. Okay, my wax is melting. Starting with the skewer. A lot of the time I end up using crayons to, not a lot, but sometimes when I'm just making it for myself, I use crayons to color them because it's easier than mixing the colors, because I'm not great at mixing colors with the color blocks. And so that's what I'm using here, which is why there's glitter in it, because I used a glitter crayon. And that would be this one, metallic glitter Crayola, and a mix with that one too, to get the right shade of green. Because even though it's cinnamon apple scented, I wanted to do them green. So here are my pine cones sitting ready to be done, and if I need to wrap up a couple more, I've got a couple more I can wrap up. So it's about ready. Well, it's not ready to dip, but it's about ready to start letting hard up and getting ready to dip. Sorry, let me sit out of the light so you can see the color better. And I'm about ready to do a testing spot to see what color the wax will be. That's where you get some of the wax and you like drip it onto a piece of paper, because this is not the color the wax will be when it dries. It'll always dry it won't be as concentrated when it dries. So you always want to test what color it is so that you're not disappointed when it dries. Okay, so I took mine out of the water and set it here to let it cool. I just put it back in the water. The water is not really, I can stick my hand in it, you know, it's not really very hot anymore. It's just a little warm. But I did a test dip on this one. The wax is at 125 now, degrees Fahrenheit, and it's not that, it's okay now. That's my first dip. When you dip it, you want to push it down with your spoon or your skewer to make sure you get the top okay. And it's okay not to get this part because you'll dip that last. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did it. It's kind of hard to show you and you can't really see it. Let me see if I can put it back in the light. Okay, I just kind of dipped it in there, rolled it around some, like this. Sorry if you guys can't see good. I wish you could. See if I can tilt it that way. Well, it's not going to cooperate. And I rolled it around some, and then I pulled it out and held it up and let it drip. You've got to let it all drip off before you put it on your sheet. And then you just let it dry and do that a few more times and it should be good. I'll come back once they've all dried. Here they are. These 4 have been dipped 3 times. This one's only been dipped twice. As you can see, they're kind of, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's, they get this like wax on the bottom from where it's sitting. You can see the puddle there. It's, maybe if you look from this direction, you can see the wax kind of sitting on it. But you can see the puddle there underneath them. And when you pick them up, that like attaches to the bottom, and you have to pick that off every time you dip them, or else it's gonna build up too much. So I'm putting mine over there to remelt on that plate. Oops, knocked the fragrance over. You have to pick that up, pick that off every time you go to re-dip them, or it'll build up and it won't be, that's just not supposed to be there like that, according to the directions I'm reading. So yeah, I'm going to dip them a few more times because the wax layer is not thick enough to my liking, and then I'll show you guys once I'm done with them. Here they all are, sitting drying. I really like the way the color turned out, and if you look closely, sorry the light on my phone is on, you can see a little bit of shimmer in the glitter part, which I think actually turned out cool. As you can see, I haven't dipped the top parts yet. Some of the top part did get dipped in when I was just dipping, but once they dry, I'm going to turn them over and dip the top part in. I'm letting the rest of it remelt. I'll show you that. It's just remelting, and I guess I need to stir some of this down into there. But, yeah. So I'll come back once they're 100% done. And I wish I could show you one working, but since they're for Christmas presents, I won't be able to, but it's really easy to work. You would just put one of them in between the logs, light the top of it, it would catch, and it would start the fire. You could use more than one in one fire if you wanted to, I guess, if one didn't work well enough. I've never actually used them. This is the first time I've made them, but I'm giving them as gifts. This is how many 1 pound made for me. This many. This is what size they are, you know, compared to my hand. My hands are small, and then this is how much is left. So you could probably get maybe 1 more cone out of that. But I'm going to make that into a candle. Okay, they're not dry yet, but I did dip the tops. We've still got that accumulation at the bottom, which I'll need to break off. That's fine, though. Some of them sit kind of lopsided, but can't do anything about that. And I'll need to break some of this off, too, because this is too thick here, like that. But I really like how they turned out. I think they're going to work really nicely. I think they're really pretty. I like that it came out like a light minty green instead of like a bright green, which is actually what I was going for. But I like the minty green better, actually. So I hope you guys liked this. Please comment, rate, subscribe, possibly do a video response of you making them or any of the other crafts I've shown so far or am going to show. And blessed be.